What's up, everyone? I'm back with another edition of the Superstars podcast. We are working on this background here. I was told it's a little grainy. I'm working with my technical team to try and make it better. But you know what? I'm learning from the pros, and learning from the pros meaning talking to a guy named Adam Lopate. He and I have been friends and confidants in this real estate game for God, dude. How long now, bro?
I think we first met back in 2018.
28. That's crazy.
You're one of the, honest to God, you're one of the first people I met in the game.
Dude, that is absolutely. I never even realized it was that long. That's crazy.
Yep.
It kind of makes me get a little nostalgic.
2018, I was a different man. I was a different person. The whole world was different, right?
Dude, it's nuts. I have such an amazing adoration for you as a person, but also for your hunger and drive for what you do professionally. And that's kind of what I want to tell people. Because, dude, you are a baby. Tell everyone, how old are you, bro?
It's funny you bring that up because my mom actually sent me a text and said, make sure Chad knows you're in your 30s, not your 20s.
I thought you were in your 20s still.
No, I just turned 32, but I appreciate it.
The story was better in the 20s. Though.
I know. I got a baby face. My mom said, if you're in your 20s, I'm in my 40s. I said, all right. Well,
you know what, though? I will tell you this. I've seen you mature, through our friendship and working together as well. And I want to talk about all that stuff, but sure. I want to congratulate you for getting married this year. Big steps.
Thank you. It's amazing. I love it.
How has that changed your whole mentality and things?
I'll be honest, not to sound cliche.
Yeah.
Since getting married, I swear I've never been so hungry for growth. I was always hungry for growth, always ready to tackle the next thing, get bigger, get better. But there's just such a drive in me because now it's not just me I'm working for, it's me and my wife. And she's honestly the best. She motivates me, she pushes me, and I've never felt so hungry for growth than I have since I got married.
That's sick, dude. So I will give everyone a little background because I know you and I have done this before, but but it's one of those things. Is this my special guest already? Who we got back here? We got back here. Hold on. You trying to come on now? All right, I'll bring him on now. All right. So I'm
little man.
It's take the kid to work day. So he was been dying. So Gavin, say hi to my buddy Adam.
Hi.
So you're
live, Gavin.
So today he's get to experience two things. He gets to experience the podcast, and then I have a closing in Center City, so we're gonna do Reading Terminal for lunch, bro.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Check out the PA General Store. That's my wife's mom's business. It's the longest person in the longest vendor in the market. Yeah.
I have soccer tryouts later.
Nice. What do you play? Goalie?
No. I play for Haddonfield.
Okay.
But
what position do you play?
We switch positions, but I'm usually left wing in my spring. But these are tryouts for fall, but I play spring ball too, and I'm usually left wing.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm left.
So are you a lefty?
I'm a righty, but
Got it.
It doesn't matter if you're left wing or right wing.
Gavin, just so you know, if you look over Adam's shoulder right there,
it's a Mets shirt.
Yeah, so he's
he already noticed.
He's a huge Mets fan, Gavin.
Die hard.
You're a New York fan?
Yes, Mets and Jets. Why I was born into it. I didn't choose this life. It chose me.
Are you Yankees? Oh no, you're a Mets fan. Oh,
yeah. So Gavin, before I let you go and Adam I get into it, why don't you tell him how you honestly, and he's gonna take it because he's our guest. Tell him how you honestly feel about the Mets. You can give it to him. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't want to be rude, but I just hate the Mets. I just hate them because they're my least favorite team, and I'm a Phillies fan, and I just hate them. I can't stand the Mets.
Gavin, you want to know what's funny?
What?
Exactly how you feel about the Mets is how I feel about the
Phillies. I know.
Yeah, so he can experience the pain.
Are you a Flyers and the Sixers fan?
I like the Sixers. I'm not a hockey guy, but I was always an Allen Iverson guy. I like the bad man.
Yeah, I tried to take a selfie with them at the Sixers
game. He dissed us last week at the game, bro.
Allen Iverson's, he's no bullshit.
Yeah, but he's He isn't, but at the same time, like at this stage of the game, you could be a little.
He should be. Yeah, he should
Yeah.
be. He should be taking photos with the fans. Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
So my cousin Rylan, he said he went to Africa to take pictures with kids, and he didn't he didn't even want to take pictures with any of the kids.
Wow.
All right, you're gonna give a vote on sign. Adam and I got some business to get into, so you say goodbye to the internet.
Bye.
Give them your name,
bro.
My name is Gavin Levine.
And say I'm the superstar kid.
I'm the superstar kid.
All right, let me go finish my podcast.
All right, bye.
All right, see you. All right, I promised them the cameo. Bro.
Listen, man, gotta give the youth some screen time.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the nitty gritty, man. So tell everyone like how you got into the game. When you and I first met, you were trying to go retail. You were trying to be a retail agent, right?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the journey, obviously, like where you start is the most important. Like that's where it teed it off. And in 2018, I was retail. You know, I was dealing with a hedge fund at the time. They were my biggest client. I had 20 listings right before COVID from 2018 to 2020.
So how did you land those guys?
Just mutual friends. A mutual friend of mine worked for this hedge fund. They were based out of California, and he ended up plugging me in with them, and they ended up giving me all their listings. And it was just like a domino effect. I had 20 listings right before COVID hit, all over the city, all from the same person. And then obviously COVID hit, and the hedge fund got tanked. Like they completely went bankrupt, belly up. All 20 listings I lost overnight.
Really?
Yeah, literally all overnight. I mean, and again, that's the tough part about getting all your listings from one person, especially a hedge fund. Something happens. I lost all my business overnight.
Wow.
Yeah, and then 2020, I took a pivot. Obviously, with COVID, I ran out of money. I went and worked at a factory, at the UPS factory overnight. I was working midnight to 9 a.m.
What were you getting, dude? Some of those drivers get some good dough, though.
The drivers are, they make upwards of $30 an hour.
Yeah.
I was a factory worker. But I look back and, that whole situation was a blessing to my life. One, that's where I met my wife, in the factory.
Oh.
Yeah. She was a worker and I was also a worker in the factory.
So were you guys both in those like very unattractive chocolate brown uniforms?
So we don't have to wear those in the factory. Only the drivers have to wear the chocolate brown. We did have ugly uniforms, and it was a dirty, disgusting factory. And again, it was 12 midnight, 2 a.m. till 9 a.m. It was only an overnight shift.
Wow.
And like I said, it was a blessing in two ways. One is I met my wife there, and two,
how'd that go down? So you both are like doing factory work, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at her, like peeking out of the corner of your eye.
If you want the honest transparency,
yeah,
it was COVID. You couldn't leave your house. The only time I could leave my house was to go to work.
Yeah.
And there was I'd say 5,000 employees there, and 3 of them were females. So I saw, I only saw 3 females.
That sounds like prison.
Right. In a 2-year span, I saw 3 females. And so one day she walks in, and it was like the first time I saw a female, who was closer to my age, that wasn't over the age of 40. And I was like, you know what I mean? I locked in. I was, it was probably 100 of us all piled up trying to get over there. And, I just shot my shot.
So statistically, there must have been something to stand out, because the odds were like against you when you think about it.
Yeah, the odds were. I mean, I was one of the first people that went up and started talking to her, and, we hit it off right away. And the other funny part is that we were both wearing masks. So not to sound cliche, I really didn't notice who she was by looks at all. I couldn't even see her. All I saw was her eyes.
Have you ever seen Love is Blind?
I have seen Love is Blind, yes.
That's a good show.
Yeah. And we fell in love. Like I said, it was, and everyone in the factory knew off rip too. Everyone knew. Everyone knew. It was factory love, bro. That's All right, so you're there, you're grinding it out. Are you at least somewhat positive, or are you just like, F this, I hate my life? Like, where's your mindset? I mean, that would be the second blessing, I'd say, after meeting my wife, who kind of pushed me to get back into real estate. I was miserable. I hated life. What I thought in that moment was the worst period of my life
Yeah.
was actually ended up looking back was the best thing that ever happened to me. I was miserable. I hated life. I didn't like who I was. I was drinking. I was just doing bad things. I had no motivation. And, that looking at myself in that moment, it was like, I want to be the opposite of what I am right now. And if I didn't hit this low point, I don't know if I would ever try to get to where I'm at today.
Where is that age wise for you?
I was 26.
26. And
So I
then
had a college degree.
uh-huh.
I was in real estate, was successful at one point. I worked at
Yeah.
Morgan Stanley
Yeah.
in finance,
Yeah.
and so now I'm 26 with a degree working in a factory making, $18 an hour.
Yeah.
And, like I said, I hit a super low point. I had to humble myself.
So it was your wife that literally looked at you and said, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah. I mean, look, she saw something in me that I didn't even know I could see in myself. And yeah, like I said, I got to give her a lot of the credit. She pushed me back into it. She stuck by me. She supported me, and she bought the stock when it was super low.
Yeah, man. I guess, and she's getting the dividends now.
Now she got the stock when it's at an all-time high. I'm like Amazon.
You're like Bitcoin, bro.
I'm like Tesla, baby.
So, I love it, dude. That's awesome. So, all right. So you're like, all right, I'm going to get back into this. So did you think you were just going to get back into it the same way you did, or did you come in a totally different way?
So I completely pivoted, right? Like what I was doing before COVID with the retail stuff, I'll be honest, I didn't truly love it. I was doing it just for the money, right? I was getting all these listings. It was hard not to do it.
What were you doing in retail? Like, what were you doing to get the listings?
From Bob and Abby, they taught me the strategy is you got to find them the land acquisition. So I got to give them all the credit. They taught me find them what they want, and then they'll give you the back end listing. So I would source out, land for builders, put them under contract, sell them the land. They would build something, and then I would naturally be able to get the listing. Same thing with the flippers, right? You bring them something to renovate, they renovate it. An unwritten rule in the game is they'll give you the back end listing when you're done.
Right. How are you finding stuff? Like, is there like because the one thing that you're like amazing at right now, which we can touch on a little bit, is your lead generation, which is probably the one thing most people lack, right? The hardest thing to do is to figure out A, how do I get business, and B, how do I convert business? Like, that's so difficult, right? Then you got good at it, but what were you doing early on like that was different than most people, or were you just doing more of it?
I'd say 100% what you just said is the 100% truth. Is finding the deal is not only the most important, but it's the hardest. So when I came back out the second time up to bat, that's what I focused on. It was the hardest part. And I was doing a lot of mailers. That's what they taught me was mailers.
Break that down, dude. Like, what does it take financially? How many times do you have to send someone something? What's the follow-up? Like, what was your process?
Yeah, so mailers are expensive in nature. One is a stamp alone costs 50 cents, right? And you got the paper, the ink, the printing of it, just the labor of stuffing the envelopes. I mean, you're looking at 70 to 90 cents a piece of mailer. And so, yeah, that's what I focus on. And it's a numbers game, right? The more people you mail, the higher your odds are of getting someone to call you. But not only that, right? It's not just the amount of letters, it's who you're sending the letter to.
Right.
And I was always good with analytics. So I would look at different addresses and figure out who has the highest probability to sell their house. Those are the people I'm going to target, right? Like if you bought your house last year, I'm not going to send you a mailer. What are the chances you want to sell your house this year when you just bought it last year? I want people that have owned the house for at least 10 years. They have a lot of equity in the building. Different factors. I formulate it, and I would target those people.
Where were you pulling those data points from? Were you buying lists?
All of it's public record. I mean, there's 100 different ways you can pull, MLS, you can pull it direct from the OPA website. That's the Philadelphia Property Assessment page. And then the other thing that I focused on was how to be different, right? Because I'm not the only one sending mailers, but I want my mailer to stand out. And there was a couple of tricks I did in the beginning. I'd stick a penny inside the mailer, because that's a fixed cost. A penny cost a penny, right? So instead of 77 cents, it cost me 78 cents. But then when somebody picked it up, right, it had a little weight to it, so they would be interested to see what was inside.
Oh, wow.
And then the other thing I would do is like Philly, I would put a sticker on it that said "Go Birds," right? Because everyone in Philly loves the Birds, and they see that sticker like, oh, what's this guy talking about, right? So I did little things that outside the box that most people weren't thinking about doing, that didn't cost that much and didn't really add that much to it, but definitely stood out a lot.
So let's break down the finances. And some of this is like you having the fortitude. Like, I think one of the biggest problems people have is they're like, I'm going to spend nothing. I'm going to get through, like if you don't spend in this business, you don't make, right? I mean, you subscribe to that wholeheartedly, right?
100%. I mean, there's two things in life, and this is just a general rule of thumb. It's either time or money. Do you want to give your time or do you want to give your money? I could do the same process faster, but it's going to cost me more, or I'm going to give my time because time is money. So I started off, you have to spend money to make money. Like you can't do anything for free. And it's just how much you want to spend determines how much time you have. In the beginning, I had a lot of time, so I put in more time than I did money, but I did have to put money down, right? I invested into it.
Well, you took a risk. Let's think about this. You're coming out of UPS. I don't know. Do you have any money saved?
So what happened was I worked at UPS, and COVID, they hit you with that what is that loan they gave out, the PPP loans. So I applied for one for my business.
Yeah.
Because COVID sunk my business, and they gave me a loan. It was like 30 grand. Yeah. And the moment that 30 grand hit, I said, all right, I'm going to give this a second try. I got 30,000 to put into this. I'm going to put it all into this. Yeah. And I'm either going to sink or swim. Right. And so
that's ballsy though, dude. That's ballsy.
And that's what a lot of it is having balls.
All right. So you take 30 grand, right?
Yep.
And you literally, where did you put the money? That's what I want to hear the whole thing. Now I'm actually interested. So you take 30 grand. What do you do?
I put it all into marketing. I bought as many mailers as I can buy with it. I had a buddy of mine from college. His mom was, retired. She was stuffing my envelopes. Shout out Miss Broadbent. She believed in me, and I'll never forget that. She was stuffing my envelopes, and I put all of it into mailers, and I started sending out mail.
So what's the content of the mailer? Like, what is it? Are you see, this is where I think people get tripped up. They overanalyze and overthink. What are you putting? What's the message?
It's a super simple message, right? You want to get right to the point. Yeah. Hey, this is Adam. I'm a local investor. I'm buying houses in the area. I came across your property. If you had any interest in selling it, here's my phone number. Here's my email. Call me, email me, text me. I'd be interested to see what I could offer you.
And then are you showing your real face and all that other stuff?
I had a picture of me.
Okay.
And in the beginning, right, again, back to where time is money, and I would handwrite, the envelopes in the beginning, just the envelope part. So when people saw it, they're more likely to open it if they saw it was handwritten. So I would handwrite it or I'd sign it. Then I moved to just signing it, and I would put sticker envelopes, right? Because I started to run out of time, and I would, then pay to put the sticker on it, the label. And then eventually, again, you run out of time. But I try to personalize it in the beginning as much as I could, but that started to dwindle down as I ran out of time and could spend more money.
All right, so you're doing that. You dropped 30K. Now, did you see the first Mario Brothers that came out?
No.
So in the movie, they take all their money and throw it into an ad. It's like this really funny, entertaining ad, and they sit there and just basically pray that someone calls. And then it could is that what you did?
That's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did. I put it all into marketing.
Everything goes out, and then you're just praying.
And I just prayed. I strategically picked the most probable people, and I really honed in. I was up all hours of the night figuring out who I was mailing to. I was blasting them around. And what's crazy is I have goosebumps right now. It's like I got the call I was waiting for, and that call, not to be cliche, changed my life. Like there was one lead that came in off that mailer that I was praying for, and it came. It literally came, and it's the craziest story of my life. And the craziest part of it being the craziest lead and deal I ever worked is that it was the first one. It was the first one. And that right there is what speed boosted me into where I am today.
So what was it? What was it? Give us the details of it.
So, and I should probably tell this story more often, and I wish I could. His name was Gary Gold. Richard Gold. I'm sorry. His brother's name was Gary Gold. His name was Richard Gold, right? He calls me off a mailer. And again, I sent out these mailers. I'm praying. I probably didn't get this call for another 30 days, right? So 30 days of sweating, losing sleep, coming up with plan B. Richard Gold calls me, right? He goes, Adam, I have your letter sitting here on my bedside table. I got it a month ago, and I've been waiting for the moment to call you. So now I'm calling you. And I said, Richard, I'm not going to lie. When I say this, I've been waiting for your phone call. Because I was waiting for Richard to call.
It was the perfect sales response, but it was legit.
It was legit. And I honest to God meant that. Richard, I was literally waiting for your call. So Richard Gold, never forget the man. He says to me, Adam, I have cancer. I need to sell my house. I didn't think it would progress as fast as it did. I would love to sell it. Do you want to come out? It was a duplex in the Northeast, right? So I go out there, and I said, I said, how about I'll be there in an hour? I've been waiting for this phone call. I'm coming there right now. Go out there, right, to Richard Gold's house, sit on his couch with him. He had cancer. It was a super sad situation. And I hung out there, I swear to you, for 3 hours. Wow. I sat there for 3 hours with Richard Gold. His thing was he watched old Westerns in his house and smoked Red 100s, Marlboro Red 100s. So I sat there and I just smoked Red 100s with him, watched, and again, that's really what he wanted someone, to kind of hang out with. And, the sad part is it was a duplex. He lived downstairs. His son lived upstairs, and he had no relationship to his son. And they lived in the same building.
Wow.
And he used to say, like, I wish you were my son. I wish you were more like my son, which is sad in a sense. But yeah, I hung out there with him. And then, then the next week came by and I'm hanging out there again. Eventually he sells me the building, right? He agrees to sell me the building. First day, we come up with a price. It was a fair price.
So what does that mean? He sells you so at that point, you are not doing this to get the listing. You're doing this to acquire the property.
Yes, to put it under contract.
How did you? Okay, so just to put it under contract.
Just to put it under contract. That's step one.
Did you have a plan to buy it yourself, or just to get it under contract?
So just to be transparent,
yeah.
When I was going there, my plan was never to buy the property. I wanted to wholesale the property, right? I wanted to put it under contract and flip the contract.
And is that something you knew about? Did you know how to wholesale?
Yes, at this point, I knew how to wholesale. I knew what wholesaling was. This is like what I was trying to get into was wholesaling specifically.
So that's something that you had experience. I remember you worked for a bigger company doing it, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. I worked for a bigger company. So this is what I decided was what I was more passionate about and the avenue I wanted to get into my investor, career with was to start off as a wholesaler.
Give someone like the drive-through description of how wholesale works.
Wholesaling is very easy concept. It sounds complicated. All you're doing is flipping paper, right? You're taking something, you're putting it under contract. So let's say you find Judy Smith. She wants to sell you her house for $100,000. You guys write up a contract together for $100,000. And now you're selling your rights to buy that contract for $100,000, that house, to somebody else for more money. So they're buying the rights from you to purchase that property because you had initially acquired those rights to buy it.
And then you have however long in that contract to either buy it yourself or sell it off.
Usually 30 days. You have 30 days to find someone else to kind of, you step up, you stand up like musical chairs. They sit in your seat and now they buy it, or you have to close on it, or you lose your deposit.
So there's two parts to this story. There's getting the actual contract and then they're selling it off.
Correct. You need to get it. A lot of people in the game think just getting it under contract means they're doing business, but that's only half the job. You need to also be able to sell it. So how you acquire it, determines if you're able to sell it. So don't just put it under contract to put it under contract. Put it under contract at a point where you could actually sell it.
And what's the risk involved if you can't? The deposit?
You lose a deposit, and it depends how much the deposit is. But, when it comes down to it, there's minimal risk, super low risk, especially if you're acquiring it or putting it under contract at the right price.
I think that's the key, though.
Buyers come.
That's the key. That's the key, at the right price.
Correct. You got to put it under contract at the right price. And it's just like anything, it's like flies on shit. You have a good deal. Buyers are begging you to buy it.
Right.
You want that product that people are begging you for, not the one you have to beg someone to buy.
And did you already have that list of buyers ready?
I already had it locked and loaded. I already had a group of people I worked with in the past, or people from before COVID, after COVID that I met. Again, finding the buyer was the easiest part. That's why I focused on finding the deal and let the buyers come. I didn't focus on finding buyers.
But I guess my question is, do you think that you would have even been as courageous to even attempt to find it without having the buyers?
I think a lot of people get lost in finding deals because they're scared about what comes next and how to get rid of it. Right. I already knew I had a group of people. So yeah, it definitely helped me with the confidence to be like, I can go in here and put this thing under contract because I'll find somebody for it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, people always figure, all right, I have it under contract now. What's next? So it makes it harder to, have the confidence to put it under contract if you don't really know what you're going to do next with it.
So I think that there's a lot, because of your age and because of the success and because of the drive, I think people underestimate how hard it is to get to that, right? So in concept, it's very easy, right? It's very simple. In execution, it's not simple at all.
100%.
Because I've seen people get burned heavy on the buy side because they don't have the outlets.
It's 100% true. It's easy in concept. Yeah. It's like poker, right? Yeah. You got to have the best hand, but the actual strategy involved with how to win poker is actually super intricate. It's the same thing. It's easy in concept. It's hard in nature. And if you don't execute properly, it could get messy.
All right. So you have this carriage. You have Mr. Gold.
Yeah, Richard Gold.
That deal's we won't call him his other name. R.I.P. Richard. R.I.P.
Yeah.
But so that deal, you get that. What's the economics look like on that? On just that deal? Just give me an idea.
It was a duplex in the Northeast. Again, he gave it to me at a good price.
Yeah.
I think the relationship I built with him, and it was a genuine relationship. Like I genuinely enjoyed spending time with him. He wanted someone to hang out with. He knew he was dying and he wanted someone to kind of bond with. I enjoyed giving that to him. He enjoyed being around me. He gave it to a price to me that he still walked away at a good price. But he knew he was giving it to me at a good price. He knew I was new in the game. I wasn't shy or scared about telling him that. And he gave it to me at the right price.
Yeah. Yeah. So you ended up wholesaling that?
So I ended up wholesaling it. So the craziest part of the story is, right, I go there. I get it under contract. It was a 30-day close. I get a call about 2 weeks later. It's Richard. He calls me. He goes, Adam, I have bad news. I go, Richard, what's up? Talk to me. He said, it's progressed even harder, my cancer. We need to speed this thing up. We need to speed it up now. They're going to put me, I'm going in for an operation tonight. And they're going to try to figure out how to, give me more time in a sense. But he's like, my time is quicker getting shorter as time goes on.
Right.
And, the craziest part about that conversation was at the end, I'm trying not to get emotional. He said at the end, I said, no problem, Richard, whatever I can do, I'm going to get this thing to happen. He says, all right, I love you. And it was like, again, I just met this guy 3 weeks ago. He's already dropping L-bombs on me.
Yeah.
And just quickly, I said, all right, bye. And then I realized after I hung up, I never said I love you back.
Right.
And that haunted me. I get home. I was telling my wife now, who was my girlfriend at the time, I said, told her the conversation. And she goes, you didn't say I love you back. And so I started to feel worse about it. Cause honest to God, I did love the guy. Like he was a good dude. And so I called him 100 times. Once my wife said that to me, you didn't say I love you back. It screwed me up mentally. So I called him 100 times. Just all I wanted to say to the guy was, I love you too. Yeah. He was already in the operation at this point. So he wasn't answering the phone calls. 3 days go by, still haven't heard from him. I'm like, Jesus Christ. This guy said, I love you. Never got a chance to say it back. I get a phone call. It's a guy who goes, hey, Adam. And it sounds similar to Richard, but I know it's not Richard. He goes, Gary Gold here. And this is his brother now. And I'm like, oh, shit. Now here we go. Like, why would his brother be calling? He goes, look, I got good news and bad news. The bad news is, he goes, the good news is Richard's still alive. Don't worry. The bad news is he's on hospice. He's like pretty much in a coma. Like they don't think he's going to make it through the night. He's not, communicate. Like he can't talk really. He's just kind of here, but he's alive. I said, Gary, we just met. Can you do me a favor? He said, what, Adam? I said, put the phone to Richard's ear. He goes, all right. Puts the phone to Richard's ear. And I say, hey, Richard, it's Adam. I just want to let you know I love you too. No. And Gary pulls the phone back. He goes, Adam, he heard you. And I said, how do you know? He said, this is the first time he smiled in 2 days.
Oh, wow.
And so Richard ended up passing that night, rest his soul. And what's crazy about it is the next day I get a phone call from Gary. He tells me that Richard passed. And he said, Adam, I have good news. And I said, how could you give me good news now? He goes, right before Richard died, before he went into that surgery, and I swear on my life, I swear on everything. You could ask my wife. This is a true story. Before he died, he had a person come to the hospital. He changed his will and wrote me in Adam, and I have a copy of the will. It says Adam Lopate has the has the exclusive rights to purchase the property. He puts the address. He had a lawyer come and sign right before he went into surgery, and he added me into his will to say that Adam has the rights. I want to make sure that this agreement that I created with him has is seen through. And I was in the will, and I was able to then, do the wholesale. Everything was good. It was in the will. It was one of his dying wishes. And I sold it to a good buddy of mine. And that right there, that moment, that situation, that story, like I knew right then and there I was meant for this shit. This is like I was meant to do this. This is what I was my purpose in life was.
Wow, dude. I never even knew that.
Yeah. And that's a true story. Every single part of that story is 100% factual.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So you get out of this deal after the emotional aspect, as well as the fact that, now you're recouping some of that 30 grand, right?
Yeah. I definitely made the money back. And I definitely made all the money back and then some.
In that one deal?
Yep.
Woo-wee! So
yep.
you tasted a little bit of that honey.
I did. And I think once you taste the honey and the honey's there, it makes getting the second, third, and fourth deal that much easier because now you have a proven process.
So then how do you grow and scale? And then what does your journey look like from that point?
So I took a little bit of the profit. I put the rest right back into marketing. And I just started to figure out different avenues of marketing. I said, I want to attack, direct to seller. I want to make this my business model. Finding the deal is the hardest part, but it's the part that fits into no matter what I'm doing. If I'm wholesaling, I got to find a deal. If I'm buying them and closing on them myself, I have to find the deal. Every single thing starts with a deal, no matter what the end game is. And, if you're flipping the house, buying it as a rental or wholesaling it, you need to find that deal first. So I focused on that. I started doing, all different things, cold calling, text messages, mailers. I just put all my money directly into marketing.
And that's the important part, dude. Like for people to compete with that, right? In any aspect of the real estate business, for you to get the volume and leads, you have to spend, right?
You have to spend.
So like, what are you spending? Like give people, and you don't have to give me an exact dollar, but like for people that are out in real estate or any other business they're trying to get their name out to, the key at the end of the day is to get the lead. That's the key, right?
Correct.
What are you spending, dude? Like
I mean, I'm transparent. I don't mind sharing my whole playbook. I really don't mind because at the end of the day, competition is healthy. I spend upwards of $15,000 a month, sometimes a 20 grand a month at this point. When I got started, I was putting in, 5 to 10,000, and I just keep bulking it up. But there is a sweet spot, and there's a spot where like, you don't want to put too much into it because then you're getting too many leads and then things are falling through the cracks. So
that's true.
I found the sweet spot right at around 15 G's a month, 15 to 20. And I spend that every month on marketing. And again, as long as I get one deal done, it makes the whole 15 to 20 G's worth it.
Right.
You just need one.
And that's the hardest part is to even get to the point where you're gonna pull the trigger to do that. 100%. Now that you've figured out, all right, this is the formula. It's very formulaic. I spend X, I get X, I convert X, it leads to X, right?
Correct. 100%.
But where's their biggest pitfall in wasting or even like if I have like $5,000 to my name, period, right? And I'm like, I'm going to do the Adam Lopate formula and I'm going to just do this. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get any of the money back, right? Where's the biggest hiccup in this? Is it the conversion?
Conversion is one thing.
Yeah.
There's a couple different things that go into it. One is conversion. One is the purpose for why you're doing it. And then again, not to sound cliche, but I didn't focus on how much money I could make back. Obviously, we're in business, right? Business requires revenue. So yes, we think about that, but don't make that your main goal is how much money you can make. I focused on building rapport with people, solving their problems, and naturally the money came. But figuring out what your drive is and what your motive is, also, if you're all about the money, people smell that through the phone.
They smell it. Sure.
They smell it 100%. You don't want to be, and people are short-sighted. So just treating people right, that goes without saying. And then don't just go through the motions to say, well, I went through the motions, right? Have purpose to those motions. I was targeting specific people to actually get results. I wasn't just sending mailers just to check the box and say, oh, I sent mailers this month, right? I actually had a purpose and a strategy to who those mailers were going to.
Yeah, and that's the key, man. Like there's a lot, and I guess my whole point to all of this too is this something that was learned, or is this baptism by fire for you? And I'm not talking about the cold calling, because I know that you developed your mojo in that, right? And you understood how to talk to someone and get, because there's an art in that, dude. There's a
100%.
very big art in that. Like most people can't pick up a phone when a stranger, is trying to get you off the phone and have a way to convert it into something that even leaves the door open an inch, right?
100%.
Yeah. So like, I think like I'm trying to drill home in this episode that you're a tried and true sales professional that had developed a proprietary process through your own ways of experimentation. And it took a lot of grit. It took a lot of guts, and it took a lot of money.
It's true. And you get better with time. It's like riding a bike, right? You just, in the beginning, I probably stuttered a lot more. I sounded like an idiot most of the time. I didn't know what I was talking about. People are giving me their problems, and I wasn't really quite sure how to solve their problem in the time, but I went out and figured out, all right, how can I solve this problem? So then when the next time that problem showed up, I knew I already had the solution, which people like to hear. I'm in foreclosure. I'm in tax, I'm going to tax sale. I'm in a divorce. I inherited the property. My mom passed away. How can I sell now I've seen I've done over 250 wholesale deals. I own a bunch of rental properties, and I've made over, 10,000 phone calls, I'd probably say. And it's just, again, riding a bike, you perfect it as you go and you learn as you go.
So where's your next trajectory, man? Where do you want to be at?
So, I've honestly transitioned from wholesale. It was a great starting point. And I still do a lot of the direct to seller marketing. Right now I'm, buying and holding, as you know. I got about 33 rental properties. So just buying more and flipping now. I want to take these things down. I've been closing on them myself, doing the full reno and listing them. But the end goal for me is like I want to start to become a developer. I want to get to that phase where I'm acquiring land and building big projects or doing bigger multifamilies, large apartment buildings. It's just the same exact logic, the same strategy, just with more money and more capital and bigger projects. So that's where I want to start. I just want to start buying more and flipping more and developing more.
And I guess the question is to anyone out there that ever wanted to get into you're doing multiple aspects. I want everyone to understand that this is not simple. You've spent years perfecting the lead process. You have the conversion process. You've had to line up the different financing aspects of the business. Right. You have to be able to have the right people to do the work to the property, to the maintenance of the property. There's a lot of involved, but you're super, super young, right? So my question to you is, to anyone out there in any part of the business that wants to get involved, what is the most crucial step, whether it's the financing or the mentorship or the contractor? How would you suggest to get out of the gate?
Partner up with people. And when I say partner up with people, find people that bring value that you necessarily can't bring, right? I bought my first house, officially closed on my first rental in 2021, and it's 2026, 5 years later, and I have 33 rentals. Man. How I was able to do that is who I surrounded myself with and who was on my team with me to do it, right? I'm not necessarily good at swinging hammers or doing plumbing or doing any of the renovation work, right? I have a partner that does that, right? I didn't necessarily have all the capital in the world to be able to get from 1 to 33 units, but I partnered up with someone who is one of my mentors and one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. He financially backs me on all my properties when I purchase, and then I refi him out once I stabilize it.
And that took that to get that crucial step in the money, because I'm the money guy, right? So I'm going to focus in on that. That was what, just like a deep level of trust on both sides.
He, my lender, my private lender, the guy that backs me on my purchases, he's a lawyer, and I actually got sued. So again, another thing that I thought was the worst thing in my life ended up linking me with the best thing that ever happened to my business. And that's just, again, being in the business and just going through the steps. Eventually the pieces start to come together. But he saw what I was doing with the wholesale business, and from that gave him the trust to jump in and do it with me. And the first 3, he was a little bit more hands-on, and then he starts to pull the reins back. Now, again, I went from 1 to 33 units in 5 years. And at this point, he just gives me what I need, and he trusts I can get it done because I'm 33 times proven to get him back his money every time.
Yeah, that's incredible, dude. It's amazing what you've been able to build across the board. It really has. But, I think the biggest message here, whether it's real estate or anything else, especially in such a big gig economy where people are trying to start things, is you have to be able to go all in, dude. You have to be able to go all in, because just putting your toe in, it just doesn't work, man. Like, it doesn't.
100%. You got to be fully in. You got to give it everything you got. If you're half in, half out, you're going to waste a lot of money. And you're not going to be able to convert the way you want. I live, breathe, sleep, die real estate. I'm dreaming about it in my dreams. I wake up thinking about it. I go right before I go to bed, I'm thinking about it. When I was at the altar getting married, I was thinking about real estate. It's just like, to be honest, it's like all I think
tell everyone what we did the day after your wedding.
We closed the deal. We closed the refi in the hotel room of the wedding.
Oh man, that was legendary. I'll tell you what.
And I wouldn't want it any other way. If my special day didn't involve real estate, I don't think it would have been as special.
Yeah. I mean, look, dude, that's what to me, the most notable part about you is your attitude. It's 100% infectious. And, you meet people in this industry that are shrewd, that are arrogant, that are pompous, that are extremely narcissistic, you can name every possible negative word there is. You're kind, you're giving, you're generous. You're actually the opposite of that, and you're successful, right? And I think there's a message in that. I think you can be both, right? You can find your passion, succeed, have the right people in your corner, and be a flat out nice dude, man.
To me, I think they go together like peanut butter and jelly. I think I am successful because of the way I treat people, I treat the industry, the way I go about myself. But naturally, like that's, when I set out, that's the way I want it to be. And I never want to alter from that.
Yeah.
If I didn't treat people right, if I wasn't good to people, if I wasn't generous, or I wasn't willing to help, or I wouldn't be where I'm at today. It's all a long-term vision. And people that have the arrogance and the people that want to, get the short buck, they end up dying out. And I don't want to die out. I want to make this a forever thing for me. Yeah. So I wanted to go about it the right way. So I think you need to be that way if you want to have long-term success in the game.
That's dope, dude. I love it. Well, this is the first of many. Adam and I have talked about even doing our own series, which hopefully we'll get to at some point.
I would love to.
Yeah, brother. Listen, the conversations are always good. There's always a lot to learn from you. Like, you're way wiser beyond your years. I mean, the deals you and I discuss on the daily are just insane. I will say this, I am never surprised anymore at what we could potentially be discussing, from mobile home parks to strip malls to massive development pieces. I mean, I have talked to you about every possible bars. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And the reality is, you are the person that can always find a way to make it happen. Like, there's always a way for some aspect of the deal to happen. And then if it doesn't, it wasn't meant to be. That's what I found with you.
And listen, if there's a will, there's a way. And if it wasn't meant, if you can't make it work, it wasn't meant to be. But I just want to say this. I want to give you your flowers also. Okay. Anytime I get a deal, you're the first one I call to run it with me. You're that's why you see all the deals I'm doing, because you're the first one I call for advice. And, I will say this is, I don't know if I would be where I am without you as well. And, you've taken care of me on all my refis. I wouldn't do a refi with anyone else, even if they came in and said, Adam, I could do it for half the price, because the value you bring me, the value of our relationship, the value of our friendship over the last couple of years. I mean, it's priceless, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Dude, ditto, man. I love you. I love you, man.
I wish there wasn't a screen between us.
What do you mean? You got to say it now. After that story, you got to say it back.
I love you, bro. I love you too. I love you too, John. Oh my god, my heart jumped, dude. I would have been calling you frantically later.
Oh man. Well, you guys just watched another edition of the Superstars podcast where we talk with the best and brightest in life, real estate, and business. And this guy is no slouch by any means. Adam, tell everyone where they can follow you or get a hold of you, brother.
It's very simple. Adam Lopate. Just the name there in the blue below. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram. You can Google my name if you want to look up some articles about me. And, feel free to reach out. I'll hop on a phone call with anybody. I don't care if you just got into the business, if you've been in the business for 100 years. I'm willing to give back. I'm willing to give value. I can talk real estate till I'm blue in the face. So always reach out. Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you want to get a hold of me. I'm willing to have a combo with anybody who wants to talk.
I love it. And when I can get him back more consistent, his content is fire, guys. I'm not going to lie. Your content is fire.
I love to be here, and thanks for having me.
You got it, brother. Follow us at Superstars Podcast and all the socials and Facebook. We'll have some fresh, hot reels coming to you soon on this episode. My people, have a great day and go out and kill it. Peace.
Peace out, guys.